Independence possible for people across the capital region.
But increasingly, advocates say those service dogs are running into pets whose owners claim are service animals, and the result, well, it can be dangerous.
CBS6's Tori Wells learned how some states are now looking to crack down on service dog fraud.
Get the phone.
This is Access. And like her name suggests, she's been trained to literally
Get the door.
and figuratively open doors.
Good girl.
Fritz Smith has had a service dog for about 25 years.
Without him, I wouldn't be able to be independent.
She started the Empire Service Dog program to share that independence with others.
They change your life in so many ways.
The not-for-profit raises and trains labs like Access to work with people with physical disabilities.
These dogs are working. They're very well trained. Good girl.
Federal law requires that service dogs be allowed into most places that serve the public. In an effort to protect a person's privacy, an establishment cannot ask a person about their disability for medical documentation or proof of training.
They can only ask if the service dog is required because of a disability and what work it's been trained to perform. Advocates say some people are taking advantage of the law, passing their pets off as working animals. It's called service dog fraud.
Is this an issue that's on the rise?
Yeah, I would say it is, which is why we're trying to raise the red flag and ask people to just stop and consider what they're doing.
Kathy Zamitis is the Director of Development for Needs in Massachusetts, another nonprofit that raises, trains, and matches service dogs with people. It's working with lawmakers in Massachusetts on legislation that would create a fine and public service for this type of fraud.
It would make it a misdemeanor to pass off your pet as a service dog.
Similar legislation has been introduced in New York, but is currently in committee.
Stamp.
Smith thinks that federal law has to change to make enforcement effective. She'd like the state or federal government to issue a tag her dog could just wear, instead of facing questions or having to worry about her dog's safety.
I would rather have that gold tag and be able to show that my dog is truly a service dog than to worry about what dog isn't.
She says one of her dogs was injured by someone's pet 20 years ago.
Get in the car.
And it makes her think twice before she goes anywhere.
I would rather leave my dog at home and not have him with me if I'm going to have somebody else that could do something for me if I needed it, rather than chance having them injured and not having them at home where I need them the most.
Tori Wells, CBS6 News.
And Tori also learned that a study is underway to create standards for therapy dogs in New York.
Under federal law, therapy dogs are not the same as service dogs because they're not trained to perform specific tasks.
Half Moon State Senator Kathy Marchone introduced the therapy dog law. She says a colleague raised concerns about the lack of training and qualifications necessary.
I hope that the criteria that they establish will be helpful to all involved, so that if there's a service dog and a therapy dog in the same room, they're both safe.
A number of stakeholders will weigh in on that. Their findings are due in October.